Hello everyone and Happy New Year. This is Daniel with Advanced Angel Cards, and this is your reading for the year 2015. The numerology for 2015 equals 8. And here we see the number 8 card, Manifestation. And it's an appropriate card because the energy for 2015 as brought through by the Angelic Collective is that of reconstruction. The energy of 2014 was the energy of rebirth, or it could be looked at as the year of deconstruction, breaking down your walls and kind of like a phoenix rising from the ashes, coming up anew. This year it's all about now rebuilding your reality to suit the new person that you have discovered, the new person you've become. That rebirth will continue because it's an infinite journey. But the energy for this year, we see this reconstruction. So it is incredibly appropriate that the card, the energy for the year being 8, is the card represents it as manifestation. It's about that reconstruction. It's about really learning and becoming one with that energy to raise up and manifest your dreams, become exactly what you want to become, do what you want to do, and be who you want to be. And the universe is saying yes, yes, yes. So as you move through this year, it should be a very high energy year, and it's time for all of us to focus on ourselves. It's not to say we can't help others, but it's really about us being the best person we can be and to start recreating our reality, our individual reality that we exist in. We interact with everyone else's reality, but the individual reality we exist in, it's about really manifesting that and reconstructing that to suit the divine being that we are realizing that we are. And it's about living in that light and, as the guides put it, singing our song, singing the song that resonates for us. So it's very appropriate that we see manifestation showing up when we look at the overall energy coming to the earth for the year 2015. And we start off the year with an 8. We have 8 of Ariel. Ariel being the coin or earth suit. Take great pride in your excellent work. Practice makes perfect. Consider getting additional education or training. So we're already starting off this new year with reconstruction, in that it is going to be apparent to many of us, whether it be in our energy work or in our purpose on this earth as light workers and energy workers, or whether it be in your daily, everyday life, advancing your job so you can afford to be of service in a way that you would prefer to be of service. It's going to become apparent to us that we need to kind of step it up a notch, so to speak. We need to go the extra mile, maybe get some additional training or education, classes, certifications, whatever we need to really start moving forward with this. And that's critical in the beginning of this year, where we're trying to now have this year of reconstructing our reality. The card is bringing it up, but it's just, I'm also being kind of given the information that it's the time for procrastination has stopped. We got to jump in, head first here and start this year off right and really start setting up a plan of a vision of where we want, where we are now, where we want to be by the end of the year, and really start to make it happen. In the channeling I did, it talked about effort, about putting out the effort, and that came up for the last reading. The world is there for our taking, and in this year in particular, manifestation is going to be running rampant, but we have to do our part. We have to set the intention and start the ball rolling. So we see for January, it's really that time to jump right in and get things moving. Okay, now we're jumping right into February, and we have 2 of Michael. Michael being the swords or air suit. It will all be better if you just make a decision. Overanalyzing a problem, find a compromise. So here we see there's a slight shift here now. We went from understanding about jumping in and getting the ball rolling. Now that maybe the ball's moving, some of us may be still struggling. When it comes to this card here, we're seeing the energy of almost that false sense of being stuck. It's that almost false sense of entrapment coming up. which isn't the translation for this card, but that's the image they're giving me. So it's going to be a situation where whether you have started the ball rolling or if you procrastinate it and now we're into February, either way we're going to have to revisit the overall plan, and that's not a bad thing. It's about fine-tuning it. So in February we see maybe a temporary pause in motion, but that's the time that you're going to need to really set your sights and dream your dream clearly, lucidly, and specifically about what it is you're trying to work for. Sometimes these setbacks come as a measure of divine timing. We're trying to force stuff to happen faster than it's supposed to, I should say. I hate using that word supposed to, but faster than how the universe wants it to play out. So it's not a stop, it's a perception of things slowing up. But in that time that you're in that place, try not to get your spirits down. Try to keep a very high vibrational mindset and understand that timing is timing and it can't be rushed or slowed down. It's exactly where it's supposed to be. And use that downtime, if you encounter that, to really focus, dial in, and be really, really specific about the direction you want to go in your thoughts and prayers and intentions. Now we're moving into March and we see Major Arcana now. That's relevant. This one we see Major Arcana number 6, the Lovers, as represented by, overseen, I guess I should say, by Archangel Raphael. Make choices from your heart. Deeply emotional commitments. The power of love. Now, it would have probably seemed more appropriate for this card to show up in February, being that we celebrate St. Valentine's Day. But this is a Major Arcana card. Now, when you see Major Arcana come out in a reading, especially a timed reading, the 4 suits, they are more your day-to-day, your mundane things, nothing major. When you see a Major Arcana card, it's because there's a major change. It's usually a life change, something that would affect your life in a very impactful way that would be an ongoing effect. So here we see making choices from your heart, deeply emotional commitments, the power of love. So in March, there's definitely going to be a lot of relationship changes for the better. I don't want to put any fears out there like there's going to be breakups or something like that, but if it is a breakup, understand it is for the better. But there's going to be an emotional shift, and it's going to deal with your relationships. Now, it doesn't always mean romantic. That could be platonic, friends, partners, business partners, family. There's definitely going to be a shift. Because we're seeing this as the Lovers, and because we're seeing the power of love, and it's Archangel Raphael, which is healing, I don't feel that it is going to be a negative thing like a breakup or something, although that can be healing and it can be beneficial. I see it as some sort of a rebirth, a relationship status taking on a new level, a new meaning. And this is going to be happening more and more frequently as we raise our vibration and we shine our light. It's going to be recognized, and we're going to help raise other people's vibrations. And because of that, love and compassion and joy is just going to resonate within each other, and people who maybe weren't getting along as well are going to start getting along much, much better. So for moving through March here, the focus is really going to shift to us really raising in vibration, bringing in that love vibration. Not necessarily romantic love. Certainly for many of you it will be, but it's just the vibration of love as it exists on a universal level is really going to be shining down and radiating through us, raising our vibration and bringing us all closer together. And this is going to create shifts for us in our relationships, romantic, platonic, or business. Now moving through April now, we come into 4 of Ariel. Ariel is the coin or earth suit. When you give, you also receive. Being resistant to change, extremes in how you save or spend money. So we're seeing this card to dictate to us about balance. When we're trying to manifest and that flow is coming in and going out, it has to be a flow. It has to be a give and receive. This is going to impact many of your program nature. Some of you are very thrifty, and the idea of being a little more generous or a little more free with your money is going to be a challenge to you, and you're going to want to resist that. For others of you, you may be a little too generous with your money or a little too free with your money, with overspending and things like that. And in order to balance things that you're manifesting, and for most of us, financial abundance is one of the things we all want to manifest. You may have to change that. There has to be a balance. So they're telling us as we move through April to really start to find a balance with our material things, our earthly things, finances, money, things like that. Credit to debt, inflow to outflow, income to spending. It's really going to be about finding a very even balance to that budget in order to have no blockages, no energy blockages. If you're too frugal, you are resistant to manifesting financial abundance. And if you are too, what's the word I want to use here? If you spend too much and you don't respect money in the case that you're just, it's easy to throw it away, that's putting off the balance the opposite direction. In order to have a steady flow of in and out, we must maintain that balance. So for April, that's really the message. Focus on maintaining that balance of your finances and materialistic things and adjusting. And for many of you, on both ends of that spectrum, that's going to be difficult. And that's one of those things that we have to work through. It's a challenge that we have to get by. And it's okay if the challenge seems daunting for you, or it's something that you keep falling back in your old ways. Every second we live is a new beginning. So if you find difficulties through this year ever with any of these challenges, any of these changes, it's okay if you fall back or if you, in your mind, fail. And just know that tomorrow or next week or 5 minutes from now, it will be the opportunity for you to continue moving forward. Now we're moving into May, and we see the star, number 17, Archangel Jophiel. Once again, 17 breaks down to 8. We are seeing that reoccurrence of 8 once again. Also, Major Arcana. So we're at another point where our journey is going to take on a new life. It's going to be a larger change to our reality as opposed to any of the minor Arcana cards. So this card actually represents everything I was just saying for April. It's the flow, it's the balance, the inflow matching the outflow. The river flows in, and then when it flows out, the same amount of water goes out as when it came in. This is one of the core meanings of this card. Now, as this card states, its intention, you see a dream come true, believe in yourself, the end of a difficult situation. Now, because this card came when it came as opposed to the last card, I have to think this card is showing us now we're going to start existing in a little bit different reality when it comes to that financial flow. If we have maintained our balance and found our new groove, and we've welcomed the universe to then up the amount of abundance we're having because we have determined or we have decided to make that change to keep that flow moving, and the universe can then send us that greater abundance, I see here now in May that coming to fruition. And I'm using the term financial abundance. Abundance comes in many, many forms, and it could be any of the categories that you are struggling with as far as finding that balance. But we're seeing whatever it is that you struggle to find balance in, come May, there's going to be a huge change in that perspective for you. A successful change to where now you are flowing fully and flowing clearly. And that's why I believe we're seeing the major arcana in this situation. Again, 17 breaks down to 8, and 8, as we've seen earlier, was the theme for the year and the theme of manifestation. So I think this is a nice follow-up to the last card, and this is what we're seeing through May. On the June now at 5 of Gabrielle, or Gabriel if you prefer. And this is the fire suit or wand. It's really about passion, what you're passionate about. So this is for June, and we see a challenge can resolve. Withdraw from the drama of others. Have patience with yourself and those around you. So now we're coming up to the middle of the year. This is the solstice month. This will mark the middle of the solar year, as well as the middle of our calendar year, depending on, a week later. But so things are going to be heightened right then. Because of that, we're going to probably see some challenges to our energy, some resistance to us reforming our reality to suit us as opposed to others. But understand that it's as simple as saying no, which can be very difficult for so many of us, myself included. It is really a situation where it doesn't have to be a challenge. It doesn't have to be a drama. It doesn't have to be a fight. You can simply withdraw from the situation, express to those around you that are challenging you that it's okay that they feel the way they do, and you hear what they're saying, or you feel the vibration they're sending, but this is who you are and this is where you need to be right now, and they either take the journey with you or not. But stand in your power and stand in your beliefs and fight for what you're doing, and but do it with class and tact, and be firm but gentle. And with that, we can move through this time of the heightened energy of the solstice and come out unscathed. Chances are, come out, the better for it. One of the hardest parts of taking these journeys is leaving behind what no longer serves you, because we're human beings and we like to keep relationships intact, and we like to keep people around, even if they're a drain on us, or if they're disrespectful to us, or there's not an even energy exchange there, one-way friendships, one-sided relationships. Sometimes when we come out of this situation and we've had to leave things behind, though our human ego mind may struggle with that or not really want that, our spirit needs that release in order to soar. So understand, no matter what challenges you face come June, you can rise above them just by keeping your attitude that of, I am doing this for me, this is my divine plan, this is my soul purpose, and I'm living my true, authentic self. If you don't agree with that, you are certainly allowed to do that, but it's not going to stop me from doing what I have to do and be my authentic self. And if they take the journey with you, then great. If they do not, that's not your fault, that's not your problem. There is no need to have guilt, remorse, sadness, or anything about it, because everything is laying out how it's supposed to be. Okay, so now we're moving into July, and we see 2 of Ariel. It's important to have balance. They're still bringing us this message. Working multiple jobs or projects at once, making work fun. So, again, many of us who are light workers, or who are newly understanding their light workers and energy workers and are on the spiritual path, are going to find it starts to be difficult to balance these things, to work that full-time job to meet the material needs of this world and yet still try to be of service in the spirit world. It gets difficult. It's almost like you don't have time to do both. And this is where the balance is going to come in. And how you do that is you take the opportunities in your workplace to kind of utilize being of service. I understand in a professional environment you have to be careful with what you talk about. Shouldn't be that way. I mean, certainly people discuss religion and politics, so why can't you discuss the truth of the universe? But it's one of those things, unfortunately, that people look at us and we got 27 heads. So some, again, tact and delicateness has to be used. But find those people in your workplace that you can discuss this about. Maybe integrate them into some of your groups, meetings, or workshops. Introduce them to some of the stuff. Be a teacher for them. Be a beacon for them to kind of listen over and take what resonates with them just to kind of help them spark their journey. You're certainly not taking on the role of guru or leader, but just in casual conversation, bring up some of these things. And as you start having people in your workplace to talk to, it won't seem like such a drudge to go into that workplace every day, when what you really want to do is be living as a spiritual divine being of service with other spiritually divine beings, because you'll start to have that in the workplace. Now, that's certainly not going to affect your timing of finding time to work a full-time job and be a full-time light worker, but it certainly is going to now bridge that gap to where you won't feel that pressure to do so many things outside of your job or outside of your daily grind to fulfill that need that we all have inside of us to serve and be connected to spirit, because you'll be kind of integrating it back and forth. Beyond that, that balance is necessary. So as we move through July, it may be time to start considering, are you being of service in such a way that you're providing services or readings or workshops where you're generating money? That certainly isn't the goal of this work, but it is a side effect of the work. So if your side effects of being of service is starting to generate enough money for you that maybe you can go part-time at your job or reduce your hours in some way, that's a decision that July is going to bring to you as one of those challenges for the better, your opportunity to better yourself, that you may have to consider, depending on where you are personally at that time. July, we're going to start seeing that swing for some people where they're going to start making a decision to maybe cut back, or maybe there's a job shift to then enable them to do more work in what they want to do, what their energy is telling them to do with the spiritual stuff. Now in August here, we see Four of Michael, again the sword suit, which is the air suit. This deals a lot with emotion, stress, and how they affect us, how they affect our actions. So in this card, we see insights that come from quiet meditation, the need for more sleep or time off, seek relief from stress. All that chaos that we may ensue, or what we perceive as chaos in July, is really gonna wear on us if we can't find that balance. And this happens in no matter what aspect of life we're speaking about. If we cannot find that balance, it takes a physical toll on us. The emotional drain and mental strains that we endure by not being in balance really takes a physical drain on us. So now we're moving through those challenges of July of finding that balance again with our life purpose versus working that material job to exist within this material world. Come now August, we're seeing basically direct instructions to really start to focus in on stress reduction, meditation, or meditative activities if meditation isn't your thing, which can consist of painting, doing anything that's creative, people that like to knit, things like that. When you're starting to do things and you're just doing it and not even thinking about it, it's just like a robot, that's all meditative practices. For some people it's walking or gardening. We're really going to see an increase of need for that. As these stresses of daily life and stresses of this imbalance is creating energy drains on you, it's like you have to start going back to the gas station and filling back up. We do this by resting, doing meditation, quiet reflection, journaling, anything that reconnects us to spirit directly and lets us refill up on that energy. You can do it with energy modalities, Reiki or IET, or just any type of energy healing, and really lower those stresses. Maybe start getting involved with essential oils or aromatherapies that help with stress reduction. But the quiet time, and again, I cannot stress enough how important it is to set up a space in your home that is your quiet, sacred corner of the house that you can go and just be in quiet and be with your thoughts and let your energy settle. And I mean, moving through August, we're going to be seeing a lot of this. And again, even these things that sound like they're challenging or sound bad, none of it's bad. It's all for the best. It's all putting us back on track. It's us putting out that effort to achieve the manifestation that we want. So when I use these terms, challenging or whatever, understand it. It's none of it's bad. These are all things that we go through. When you build a house, sometimes you hit your thumb with the hammer. It doesn't stop you from building the house. It just makes you stop for 5 minutes and put a Band-Aid on. This is all I'm talking about. Now, as we slide in September, now we're coming into the equinox. Here we have 6 of Gabrielle. Congratulations, you've done a wonderful job. Time to move on to the next project. Awards, scholarships, and promotions. So we're kind of seeing like everything we've started through this beginning of this year has kind of come full circle. We went through the trenches and came back out smelling like roses. Now it's time for the enter the next phase. You know, it's funny because we had this, it's like the solstices and the equinoxes, which make up the solar year, always seem to be, it's a cycle. So now we're coming through September, the fall equinox, and we're kind of wrapping up that kind of hecticness of the summer. Things got a little nutty. And now we're moving through September, and it's that completion. We feel like we've gotten through that. Now we can focus moving forward on to the next phase, the next project, the next level that we're trying to achieve. And they're recognizing that here. So September is going to be kind of that like wrapping up time, and then beginning the next cycle, moving back towards the winter solstice. This is where the energy will start to intensify greatly, and things are going to start moving at a much faster pace for you now in these manifestations and in these creations that are occurring for you. You know, it's going to be more and more rapid. September, I also feel, for many of you, are going to be almost like a giant exhale. Now, this has nothing to do with the card. This is just the images I'm starting to receive here. They've really kind of chimed in here and are giving me emotions and feelings to really discuss about September. Moving through September, I feel there's going to be a very kind of a universal exhale. Like people are just over it. They're done with the drama, they're done with the negativity, and it's going to be really just a movement of love and a movement of kind of self-improvement and bettering. And for those who were having some challenges up to this point in the year with making those changes, I feel like everyone's just at a point, it's like you're giving in. It's not that you're giving up. You're releasing all those tensions and all that resistance. You're giving in to the will of your spirit, the will of your soul, and the will of the universe. And you're saying, fine, I'm here. What do you need? And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Because as the planet starts to get to that point, the faster this sensation, this energy can spread and bring everybody up to that point. And that's really where we want to be. Because if we're all on that same page of love and compassion, there will be no wars, there'll be no hatred, there'll be none of this. It'll all just fade away, and we can just live in peace and harmony the way it was intended to be. So keep that in mind for September. And then as we start moving through, after post-September, things should start really accelerating for a lot of you guys out there and really getting to where you want to be. So now we're moving to October. And October is Night of Ariel. There is so much to accomplish. Make a very detailed plan being watched over by someone kind. So again, in September we entered that kind of, it's the new cycle now. Now, here we are again. We've come so far, but now it's important, more important than ever, to really get detailed to round out the year. Now we've begun that last cycle, really of what we want, where we're going, what we're looking to accomplish, what the end game is. Now, they tell you in manifestation, when you're trying to manifest, whether it be abundance or your perfect partner, it's always about putting out there what you want, but don't define it. Because if you don't define it, when they deliver it to you, it'll work, as opposed to if you have a specific definition of, well, I want a dream car, and My dream car is going to be a 4-door purple coupe. But meanwhile, they keep throwing 2-door sedans at you. You know, we may not want that because it's not what we envision. So the important part is, in manifestation, is to be detailed and define and be specific as far as what it is you need and what it is you want. And it's difficult because there's a fine line between that and then being specific about what it is you're looking at or what you're looking for or how you want that, how you're defining that to look. Like people say happiness. I want happiness. But what is it that you want? What's going to make you happy? Be specific. I want a faithful partner. I want plenty of financial abundance. But that's being specific. But then there's labeling things like, well, I don't even know who to say here. I'll just pick an actor. You know, I want to marry Tom Cruise and I want, I don't know, Kelly Clarkson to be my flower girl. That's defining it, and you probably won't get that, and then you won't understand where the happiness is. That's kind of what all that means. That's probably a very bad example, but I'm laying in bed in Lancaster, I'm a little sleepy, and that's just kind of how it came out. Now, the part where it says, someone kind watching over you, Knight of Ariel is described as trustworthy, understanding, devoted, and funny. So if you think about people in your life, and this may not apply now, this may be more October-ish, and those characteristics really hit the nail on the head when you think of someone, a friend, a family member, a loved one who maybe has passed. You understand that they're going to be a part of this journey, but especially now moving through October. As you start this new phase, you make this new plan for what's next. They're going to be there with you, supporting you. I'm very strongly feeling it's going to be a loved one who is now part of your guides, part of your collective. But it could be a person still here on Earth who maybe unexpectedly is going to be very supportive of what you're doing. But keep an eye out for that, and keep in mind those descriptive terms, because usually that applies to somebody involved with the situation when we're dealing with these court cards. Moving through November now, we see Queen of Michael. You know exactly what to do. The benefit of experience, a time for your career over relationships. So we're now into the midst of the heightened energy, and we see Queen of Michael, which, anytime you get the court cards, that's a little bit of a bigger movement. We've made the new plan coming out of October, and so now as opportunities are coming fast and furious at us and things are manifesting, we know exactly what it is we have to do. And this is the time. It's like, it's time to get down to business, is the wording I'm feeling. It's time to get down to business. When it says about career or relationships, I feel it's really about that, again, what's serving you. It's about the journey. It's about where you're going with this manifestation, whether it be advancement in your material job or a transition to a spirit-based job. It's about, this is the time now, the energies are flying, and you've set your plans and you know what you need to do. So it's time to kind of wrap it up, get down, nose to the grindstone, and make it all happen. So November seems to be a very busy time with kind of getting things moving once again, full steam. As we move into December and the finishing of the cycle, you're going to probably have a lot to kind of do in November. It's going to be that catch-up time. And at the same time, it's going to be finishing up a lot of the projects and the things that you're doing to get to the end point of this year's journey. Very good. I very strongly feel a very high vibration for November. I think it's going to be a pleasant time. I think for just about all of you out there, it's going to be a happy time. In the business or relationship, understand that's about intention and focus. But as we go through November and we start approaching the holiday season, I think in general, as a planet, we're going to be in a better situation, a higher morale. And I think that this year was a very good year. The holidays were very good for most of us, even people who weren't abundant as they wish they could have been. I think this year it was a very good vibration. And I think people generally had a lot of pleasant time with family. It wasn't even about the presence. It was just about that feeling of love, because we've started that new energy. And I'm really feeling off of this card a high vibration now. On the card you see the Queen of Michael here is portrayed by Louise Hay, a founder of Hay House, who, they're really the beacon in this world. Everybody that you ever know the name of, Deepak Chopra or Doreen Virtue. I mean, these are all people that really made their way up through the Hay House ranks to get publicized. And I mean, they were the people that they were the company that got everyone whose name you know today, kind of helped get them out there. They published their books. They made their oracle cards. They gave them radio shows. I mean, there's other outlets now, but for years and years and years, it was Miss Louise Hay who helped all these people get out there and be of service to us. And these are people that we turn to now as teachers and guides and references in our work. So I think it's only appropriate that she's on on the Michael card here. And it's, again, it's a very high vibration for there. Now, again, this is a court card. So we do see the characteristic traits of Queen of Michael being brilliant, self-reliant, insightful, and humorous. So that's something to consider when November hits and you're really focusing on the task at hand, and kind of diving in head first once again and doing that work that needs to be done, kind of being responsible with your time a little more. And this, because of you're doing that, there may be a slight imbalance that occurs this month, but it's okay because you're doing it for the right reason, and it's just a temporary grind, and that'll come to fruition. But because we're doing this, because that is occurring, keep those characteristics in mind: brilliant, self-reliant, insightful, and humorous. These are the characteristics, and this is what I'm getting here. Not to look for in somebody else in this time, as someone who's supporting you or somebody related to this. I'm getting that these are the characteristics that it's important that maybe you exude, to aspire to be, in order to get through this month and not seem like you're being selfish or not seem like you're being disconnected. Those characteristics are gonna, if you can live up to those characteristics, you're gonna still be supported, you're still gonna be present and loved, and like nothing's going to change. In fact, you'll probably be looked at with some admiration, like, boy, they're really getting that done. They're really taking care of that. That's awesome. So it's good. They're very high vibrational things, very positive traits. So for November, I think those characteristics are really almost like a goal for us to stay in that type of vibration, so that imbalance we're finding by really focusing on work over relationships and things doesn't get too it's an imbalance, but it's not. We're counteracting the imbalance with that highly positive attitude. Okay, guys, so now we're wrapping up the year with December here, and we have Knight of Michael. Now, again, this is a court card, and this is an appropriate card because Michael is a knight in a sense. I mean, he's more than a knight, but when I think of Michael in the suit of armor, I always think of knight. So here we see the character traits of strong, committed, intellectual, and diligent, which though very much describe Archangel Michael. Again, I'm still feeling that is where they want us to be emotionally, psychologically, mentally. They want us to be resonating with those terms because things are kind of picking up the pace now. We're getting into coming the end of the year, and as we move through these solar years, from winter solstice to winter solstice, the energy is where it is today, and then as it moves, it's continually to increase. So by the time we get up through early December, it is intense. It is intense as it gets, and things tend to be happening faster and faster and faster, and the energy is more directly affecting us. So again, for the second month in a row, I think those traits isn't as much as someone to look for in relationship to the situation the card is talking about, but more about this is where they want us to be resonating. That's the frequency they want us to be resonating with, so that we can not only be maintaining that inflow and outflow, but just kind of staying above it, staying on the higher plane of existence, if you will, so that the energy isn't bringing us down, or that imbalance isn't bringing us down. So the card reads, and this is no surprise, time to move quickly. Choose logic over emotion, sudden changes. Again, as this energy is wrapping up, things are going to be moving quicker than ever. December, we're coming up to that winter solstice. It's the end of the cycle. It's still about getting things done, Now, this whole year seems like it's been a lot of work. In the end, it probably won't really seem that way. It'll be just like if somebody's going to nursing school or something and they're still working a full-time job. It's going to seem hectic, but that's why that balance they keep talking about is so important. You still need to take that time out to meditate or find that quiet reflection every day to gather yourself. You still need to take time out for friends and family, which can be difficult, but this is a balance that we have to maintain, and it's in maintaining that balance that we are able to find that Zen-like state that we can handle it all without batting an eye. And that's what we're going to learn over this next year, is how to maintain that balance and rise above the drama and negativity so that we can sail smoothly through anything the universe has for us or anything that humankind throws at us. We'll be able to take it with grace and dignity, with our chins up and heads held high as the divine beings we are. And one final note on the year, meditation and meditative things are critically important to this journey. Any book you read, any audio tape you listen to, any workshop you attend, they pound it, and try to make everybody understand and accept the fact that meditation is critically important to this work. Many of us resist it. A lot of us have trouble doing it. But I would implore you, please try to find a way. It doesn't have to be the classic, when you think of meditation, it doesn't have to be the classic, you're sitting with your legs crossed and fingers, tips touch, going Om. There's many ways to meditate. And if you're struggling, I would really suggest going to YouTube. Look up guided meditations, things where people tell you what to do. Start with some shorter ones. There's a girl, Sarah Hall, who I interviewed on the Advanced Angel Cards channel. She has a few great ones out there, but there are dozens. You can do mantra meditations. Deepak Chopra has dozens and dozens of mantra meditations where you maintain your focus by just repeating a phrase silently in your head to yourself while music plays, like Ananda Hum, and you just, in your mind, you keep slowly saying those words, Ananda Hum. And then, after 20 minutes of music playing, you hear a little dong, it's over. There's rhythmic breathing. Do whatever resonates with you, whatever you can find. And again, it doesn't have to be meditation. It could be a meditative practice. It could be gardening or walking in the park or riding a bike where you're not really thinking of anything. You're just enjoying your environment and you're in the moment. That's meditation. So it may be difficult, and probably one of the most difficult challenges you will face for the year. But please try to incorporate more meditation and quiet time for yourself. And I'm always quoting things, but my wife Eileen was watching John Holland, John Edwards interview. John Holland was interviewing John Edwards, and there was a great saying came out of that interview, and it says, if you can't find 20 minutes a day to meditate, well, then you better start meditating for an hour. Because if your life's that hectic that you don't have 20 minutes free, you really need to meditate for an hour so you can get your life straight. And I thought that was kind of a brilliant concept there. But that's it. All in all, it's all good stuff. It's all about moving forward. But as defined from the earlier reading and the channeling, it's going to require effort on our behalf. We're going to have to put out the effort to get this done. When I did the angel card reading for this past week here, effort was the numerology card that came out, and I think that was the week I did the channeling messages, and that's really going to be, its manifestation is the theme of the year. It's that energy of creation and moving forward, but it all takes effort, and we have to do our part of that by committing to take the effort it needs for us to be the best us that we want to be and live in the perfect world that we want to live in. It takes effort, and I think every one of you out there are up for the challenge. For some of you, it's going to be more of a challenge than others, and that includes myself. But in general, it's kind of where we're moving to, and it's where we want to be. So with that, take what resonated with you, leave behind what didn't, but always have faith and always trust in the plan. I love you all as my fellow divine beings, and I wish you all a very happy and prosperous and healthy new year. God bless.